welcome to Downtime Dives with your host, Jaden Garcia,
and Dan Marquez.
where we spend our downtime doing deep dives. So, Dan, tell me, what was your favorite thing to do in your childhood?
Honestly, when I think about my childhood, one of the main things I remember is spending all of my time on the family computer in the living room playing Animal Jam. I was obsessed with Animal Jam from the time that I was like 8 until unfortunately, it got boring.
Well, hold on to that thought so we can explore that in a bit. But first, let's take you on a journey. We're going back to 1932 in Denmark to show you how a carpenter made one of the best plastic toys to this day that I'm literally sitting right next to that I've been building for about 5 years.
Long time.
Now, for those who don't know, the Lego company was founded in 1932 by Ole Kirk Christiansen, a carpenter whose primary business was producing household goods, but unfortunately, he suffered during the Great Depression. He was known for making wooden toys, but after so, he started producing plastics. But let's go a little deeper than that. Ole Kirk Christensen founded the Lego Group in 1932 because an economic depression devastated his carpentry business, forcing him to adapt by producing high quality plastic bricks that would be fun for the whole family. Now, fun little fact, the name Lego itself comes from a Danish phrase meaning play well, being legot. But ironically enough, in Latin, Lego also means put together.
Nice.
How's that for a fun fact for you, Dan?
That's a really fun fact. I really like that.
Now, he was originally making wooden toys, but the most famous one was like a little pull string wooden duck.
Ooh, a little dog.
Yeah, and that duck was produced and designed by Ole himself in 1935 and was being produced until the 1950s. Now, in the late 40s, Ole was convinced and impressed by these like plastic injection molding machines, and he ordered one from the UK to start producing plastic toys. Now, the reason why he switched from doing wooden and the embarkment into plastic and just swapped. It's so exciting. I'm getting my words twisted up. Is that by the 1960s, a major warehouse fire destroyed most of the wooden toys inventory, which forced them to switch over to completely plastic.
Wow.
And in doing so, he also had to, unfortunately, have to fire some of his workers because he didn't have any real way of being able to pay them off. They lost half their inventory.
Oh, that's sad.
But at the time, the plastic line of toys was strong enough for them to completely abandon the Woody toys and focus solely on the newly developed Lego system in play, as that's what it was called at the time, with its stud and tube principle, which was introduced in 1958. Because before they got to the Lego brick we know of, it was originally more like these little domino tiles that you can just stack on top of each other, but there wasn't any real structure to it. They were too loose, they were too flimsy.
Interesting.
So, his son was the one who came up with the idea of using the tube system that we know of, so that way there's a bit more structure. It's known as clutch power.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's the one who introduced the idea of structural integrity to Lego. Now, here are some more fun facts as far as the stats of what they've done over the time. The very first Lego system that used this automatic binding brick, as they called it in 1958, was called the Lego System 236 Garage of Automatic Door.
Oh,
Yeah, it was to standardize plastic brick offerings and encourage creativity by allowing users to build and play with a classic car garage.
that's actually so cute. The technicality of the name is so funny.
Yeah, it included a white base, a garage door frame, and a garage door with a spring mechanism to
Ooh,
open and shut the door.
nice.
This was a significant milestone because it was the first installment of LEGO's interconnected building system, which aimed to create a unified, engaging play experience for children. So that was their first set that used their up and coming, fresh out of the box LEGO building system. But you might be asking yourself, was the best selling LEGO set today of all time? Try to take a guess at what that is, Dan.
I do know that, like, people buy a lot of, like, Millennium Falcons and, like, Death Stars, and I know that, like, recently the bouquets have become really popular.
Well, Dan, you got it. Hole in one. It is the Ultimate Collector Series Millennium Falcon from Star Wars, which I got back.
Can't believe I actually knew that.
Yeah, I got mine back in like 2019 ish, and I'm still not done. Yeah,
Oh,
life got in the way, but it's a fun build. I got frustrated at portions because this thing it's it's surprisingly not structural and like doesn't have a lot of structural integrity when it comes to the front, but overall it's still a well-designed build.
ooh,
Which
very
fun fact,
nice.
the one I have, which was released in 2017, was actually a like a 10-year anniversary redesign of the 2007 Ultimate Collector Series version of the Millennium Falcon.
So that's a wow, I didn't know it was that old, which I guess makes sense.
Yeah, and it's surprising to me now that that's my notes taken care of. Uh Now I'm just kind of going off of my own personal thoughts about this. It's kind of surprising to me when it comes to Lego. They have all these licensed IPs that they can work with, and yet the ones they realistically almost always solely utilize in terms of themed sets seems to be Star Wars and Marvel.
Yeah, I feel like every time I go into a Lego store, which isn't all that often, I don't partake in the joy of Lego very much, but I should, I wish I did.
You know, it's a fun experience. I'm almost done with the Falcon, but in the process of that, I finished a Yoda, which is about a good solid maybe 3 feet tall with the lightsaber.
Oh,
I
wow.
also have a, baby Groot in the middle of being built that I got as a birthday gift.
Oh, that's cute.
And for once I'm actually done with the Falcon, I have a whole line of F1 cars that I gotta build too. I have a lot on my back
Ooh.
burner right now.
Ah, that's nice.
So you're not too familiar as far as the how Lego goes, huh? You never really spent too much time with it growing up.
Yeah, like, I played with them when I would, like, hang out with friends who had them, but my mom never bought them for us. It was me and my brother, and my brother is too destructive and clumsy and forgetful to have Legos.
I can understand that wholeheartedly. We have a dog,
Oh, yeah. My brother is much like a dog.
so that's what I've brought to the table. So Dan, tell me, what have you brought to the table today?
For you, I have a completely unscripted, with no written notes topic.
Ooh, okay, going off the cuff. What'd you bring?
Going off the cuff, I come to you with Animal
Animal
Jam.
Jam.
Animal Jam w- was one of my favorite games of all time ever in the universe. And then I grew up and was like, actually, this isn't that much of a game. But I had a lot of great memories on it, okay?
So what is exactly this Animal Jam?
Animal Jam is a massive multiplayer online game, not an MMORPG. Um, Animal Jam Classic is what I'm referencing here for those of you who may be concerned, if you are concerned. Animal Jam Classic was a two-dimensional browser game released using Adobe Flash, and it came out in 2010, so they just celebrated their 15-year anniversary. Um, Animal Jam was released by Wildworks, which is a studio who is like really like educational and nature and animal conservation, kids education slash games slash entertainment based. And Animal Jam Classic is their like flagship quote unquote product because it was a free browser game. It is now a free PC game. You have to download it because of the death of Adobe Flash. Maybe we should go into that. The death of Adobe Flash and Flash game.
So, what kind of game was it?
Um, yeah, it is technically classified just as a massive multiplayer game. And what that means is you have your little account, you log on, and there's other users on servers with you. But it wasn't a like an MMORPG in the way that like you have actions and quests and like things to do with the other players until later
Right.
on. But it's two-dimensional. It's not sophisticated in any way. um the premise of the game is that you and all of the other users are all these wild animals and you live in this universe of Jama, which has like actual lore behind it, and I can talk about the little bit of that I know. Um, it kind of goes a little crazy. They have a whole creation myth and everything, but you and the other players are animals in this realm, and there's different like areas of Jama that correspond to different like natural biomes or environments and stuff. And you as a player can customize your character and you can customize your own den, which is your own home. And it was just like a cute little online game for kids aged like 7 to like 15.
So, more akin to like Club Penguin than World of Warcraft.
Yes, exactly. Way closer to Club Penguin and like do you remember when Neopets was a like player game instead of just like all the text?
I remember when Neopets was a website. Never did anything relating to that myself, but I do remember it being a thing.
Yeah, so Animal Jam is very much in the vein of Club Penguin, Neopets when it was playable, and like Webkins and stuff.
Got it.
I spent a lot of time on these online websites.
I did too. Don't worry. Those are in my other topics for future episodes. Don't you worry.
Nice.
So, what was it like for you playing these? I imagine it was more like an after school type of thing for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The whole reason that I found Animal Jam in the first place is because my best and first and oldest childhood friend, Dolly, we met in third grade when I moved cities for the umpteenth time, and my mom was finally like, "Okay, we're gonna stay here. So you're starting school late, and you have to make friends now, and I'm sorry that this happened again." And I was like, but it was okay because I made friends with the first person that I met. And maybe like a year or two later, they were like, hey, I've been playing this game online. You should really play this game on your computer. It's really fun and I think you're gonna like it. And I was like, what? Okay. I'm like 8, 9 years old. You know, I'm still a little kid. So my friend says, get on this website. I get on that website. And oh my goodness, I fell in love with that little website. We would play that game every day after school. We would see each other at school. We would be in the same class. We would go to recess together. We would get out of school all sad, and then we would get on our computers, and then we would play Animal Jam together.
Must have been a fun experience being able to do that with your friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember kind of going off of that. We would have like an after school program of sorts for when you couldn't exactly get picked up right when school ended. You'd have to wait a little bit. So it was essentially like, it was
Ooh,
like
yeah.
essentially, this is for the students who they need to be looked after because they can't get picked up immediately and they can't exactly walk home either.
Mhm.
So we would be in the computer lab doing our homework and whatnot, but they allowed us that when we finished our homework, we'd be able to jump on the school computers for like fun. And just about everybody would always
Mhm.
go and try to be on the same Club Penguin server. It it was an interesting time considering how much a Club Penguin server can hold.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, but I wasn't the biggest social person back then, and they never really invited me to their servers, but it's a lot of people talking in a small place. It was kind of easy to tell which server they were going on.
Yeah.
So, with that said, Dan, have any more fun facts about this Animal Jam,
Mhm.
or is this the end of your hand of sorts that you've brought to the table?
I could talk more about the game and, like, my memories with it.
Go ahead. If you have more to say, then say.
I do yeah, I don't remember when exactly I joined the game, but I do remember my first username.
Ooh, what was that?
For anyone who wants to know, my first username was BlazeClaw0516 because I was also really into Warrior Cats, if you couldn't tell this about how enthusiastically I'm talking about Animal Jam.
Must have been a big animal friend, huh?
I'm very much still the animal facts friend, and it's really funny because even just last week, one of my friends was like, "Why do you know so many animal facts?" It's because I played Animal Jam.
Well, makes sense. It was educational at the same time, right?
Yeah, it was, and I feel like a lot of people overlook that, and that was one of my favorite parts about it. Even though it wasn't like the focal point of the game, they made it really, really easy to just learn a new fact about an animal that you like. And I love that as a person. I love knowing things. I love having facts in my brain.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of like kids media has lost that nowadays, which to be fair, I'm not interacting with kids a lot. So I'm not interacting with a lot of kids media.
Yeah.
But this is something that I have felt strongly about is I miss environments like Webkins and Club Penguin and Animal Jam. And I know you're trying to speak. What are you trying to say? Sorry.
No, no, I'm just kind of nodding along, agreeing. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just generation needs to take a step away from the screens every now and then, us included.
Um, no, definitely. But I also feel like I believe strongly in harm reduction in many ways. And as a child who was addicted to screens from the age of like 6, my mom let me have a Facebook account when I was a baby so that I could play silly little games. Like, I was 6 years old on Facebook. I did not have to be on Facebook, but I've been chronically online for almost the entirety of my life. And so for children who just happen to be wired the same way that I am, I feel like there should be more safe and welcoming spaces, but they just keep dying, and it's so sad.
Well, I'd say this is a good point to wrap up our episode. What say you, Dan?
I would agree.
Okay, so thank you for listening to Downtime Dives. This is our first episode. This is us exploring this flow of things. In the next coming episodes, we'll be a bit more structured, have a stronger sense of how to get this done. So let us know how in the comments below how this episode was, and let us know if you like this format of me and Dan having one topic each, or if you would prefer us to have focus on one topic from each of us, or rather, one topic from one of us, and do a more expanded dive. Let us know in the comments below, and you'll see if the change follows through following. So, with that said, this has been Downtime Dives with your host, Jaden Garcia.
And Dan Marquez.
Stay tuned for next episode where I will talk about a silver ball, a plunger, and a couple of flippers.
I wonder what you could be talking about.
You got a hint for the listeners as well?
Oh, yes. I think I will talk about a feud as old as time and how it came to a climax in Mexico in the 2000s.
Ooh, okay, getting a bit of a history lesson. All right. So, thank you for listening. Stay tuned for whatever the heck Dan is going to talk about. Thank you. Signing out.